guys, I'm back with the second video of the video series on Heat Class 7 Science, and in this video we are going to learn about how do we measure temperature. And here we are primarily going to talk about thermometers. Exactly, we keep using them at our home very often, right? Especially when somebody has fever, we use a thermometer, isn't it? So now we will see how does a thermometer work, what is there inside a thermometer, what are the precautions that we should take while using a thermometer, and very useful things about thermometer. So are you all ready? Let's get started. So now let us try measuring temperatures of various objects which you see on this screen. So how much do you think would be the temperatures of each of these objects? So how do we measure the temperature of these objects? You can do this by using thermometer. So we are going to discuss about thermometer in detail in the next section. So just to give you a rough idea, a hot cup of coffee might read around 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. So that would be the approximate temperature of a hot cup of coffee. If you talk about boiling water, it will go somewhere around 100 degrees Celsius. So this is going to be hotter than the cup of coffee. If you talk about the normal body temperature, that is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. You talk about the temperatures of a candle. So a candle can be very hot. You know, the temperature of the candle flame can even go up to 600 degrees Celsius. So that can be really hot. If you talk about an ice cream can be very cold. It can be as less as 6 degree to 10 degree Fahrenheit. So if you actually convert this into Celsius, so it will go in negatives. So in Celsius it is even lower because the Celsius scale itself starts from a little lesser value, right? So that's how if you compare the temperatures of day and night, so there also you will see a lot of difference. Maybe the temperature during the daytime is somewhere around, say it might be around 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, then temperature at night could be around 25 degrees Celsius or so. So again, the temperature or the weather conditions differ from one place to another. So when you read your newspapers, every day you will see there would be a weather column where it mentions the temperature for that particular day. Or if you ever watch news on TV, there also they tell about the temperatures at various locations, how much is the temperature at which place for that particular day, and you will see that the temperature varies from one place to another. So normally whenever you talk about temperature, the discussion will be incomplete if you are not mentioning the scale of measurement of temperature, because a lot depends on that. Only the values don't speak a lot. So whether it is 70 degree or 100 degree or 200 degree, that really doesn't tell a lot about it, as long as you do not mention Celsius or Fahrenheit scale. So now we are going to talk about thermometer, because this is the device which actually helps us to measure the temperature. So thermometer is the device to measure temperature. So here in this section we will see how to read a thermometer, what is the thermometer made up of, what are the different types of thermometer that are available. Now the first type of thermometer that we will discuss is a clinical thermometer, and it is normally used to measure the temperature of human body. And in fact, measuring temperature of human body is a very important application of thermometer, because whenever we fall ill, measuring body temperature is something which is very common and at the same time which is very important. So if you look at this thermometer, it reads from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. So you see, it's a very small range actually. It doesn't read over a longer range, because so when you talk about the Celsius scale, it can even start from 0 degrees Celsius. It can even start from negative values. But here it is just from 35 degrees to 42 degrees. Now do you know why? Because this thermometer is used to measure human body temperature, and normally the human body temperature lies within this range, because if the body temperature falls below this temperature or it goes beyond this temperature, in that case the human beings really don't survive. So this is the range of temperature where the human body can have. So this thermometer is specifically designed to measure the body temperature. So let us look at the construction of a clinical thermometer. What is it made up of? So if you look at the thermometer, it is nothing but a long narrow glass tube. This tube is made up of glass. And what do you have inside the tube? Now on one side you have this kind of a structure which is called bulb. So this is bulb and this is the long narrow glass tube. Now inside this bulb you have a liquid which is present there. And what is this liquid? This liquid is mercury. So mercury is the only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature. So now this mercury has got some special properties because of which it is used in the thermometer. And besides this, we have a small shining thread of mercury which can be seen along the length of the tube. So as you see here, this is the length of the tube, right? So how do we measure temperature? Now whenever you put this thermometer inside the body, like preferably it is always put under the tongue. So what happens is this bulb portion is actually in contact with the tongue, right? So the mercury gets heated up and mercury expands. So what happens? The level of mercury increases. Now it goes up to a certain level and stops there, and wherever it stops, that is the reading of the temperature. So throughout the length of this thermometer, you will be able to see a shiny thread-like structure. That shiny thread is nothing but that is mercury. So this is the property of mercury, that it is very shiny in nature. So that is also one positive thing about mercury, because of which it is used in the construction of thermometer. Besides all this, there is also a kink present here, something like this. So if you closely observe a clinical thermometer, you will see a structure, a bend like this. Now, what is this bend, or why do we have this kink? Because this kink does not allow the mercury to fall back on its own. That is a reason why you would have seen that before, whenever you have to measure the temperature, how do you use the thermometer? You take it out from the box of the thermometer, you jerk it properly. Why do you jerk it? So that the mercury level comes down. So now mercury level should be below 35 degree. So it should be somewhere here. So once the mercury level comes down, then you put this thermometer under the tongue of the patient. And then what happens? The mercury expands and therefore the level will again rise. Maybe it will go up to here or here or here. You measure the temperature and then the mercury will not fall back on its own. Why? Due to the presence of this kink. So this kink doesn't allow mercury to fall back on its own. Now you might ask, what is the need of having a kink? Why do we do not want the mercury level to fall back on its own? Because if there is no kink, what will happen is, as soon as you remove the thermometer or as soon as you take the thermometer out of your mouth, the mercury level will fall back. Because when you bring it out, obviously this bulb is no more in contact with the hot object, right? It is no more in contact with your tongue. So the mercury level will fall back. So how will you read the temperature? So in order to prevent that scenario, the kink is present so that to whatever level the mercury has gone, it will remain there until and unless you physically jerk the thermometer to bring the mercury level down. So this is how the basic construction of a clinical thermometer is. And the scaling you have already seen, it starts from 35 and it is only up to 42 degrees Celsius. So what is the basis of construction of a thermometer? The basis is that volume of a liquid varies with temperature. And which is the liquid that is being used here? The liquid is nothing but mercury. So as you heat the mercury expands, and when the mercury expands, its level increases. It tends to go high up on the thermometer scale. Besides mercury, alcohol is also used as a liquid in the thermometer, because mercury and alcohol both have many similar properties. And these days the use of alcohol in the thermometer is more encouraged, because mercury as such is a very poisonous non-metal. So in case the thermometer breaks, so disposing that harmful mercury becomes a challenging task. So in order to avoid that, usage of alcohol in thermometers is encouraged these days. So now let us see how exactly do we read a thermometer. Now many a times you will see that reading a thermometer becomes a tedious task for a lot of people because they get confused how exactly to read it. And it is extremely important that you read the thermometer precisely, because when you read a thermometer you are basically reading the temperature of the body of a person who is suffering from some illness. So basically knowing that temperature accurately will decide the diagnosis or the medication of that person. So it is very important to read it accurately. So let's see how do we read a thermometer, and please learn this use from this slide and then try to read a thermometer at your home. So this is how a normal thermometer would look like, any clinical thermometer. Now please make sure that not all thermometers look exactly identical to each other. Most of the clinical thermometer are based on the centigrade scale or the Celsius scale. However, these days we also have thermometers where you have the Fahrenheit scale. So that should not cause a problem to you, because the basic concept of reading a thermometer will still remain the same. So here you see on the thermometer you see some long lines like this and some short lines which are more close to each other. So here if you look at it, you see that a long line represents 35 degree and then another long line represents 36 degree. So basically how many lines do you have between 35 and 36? So if you try to measure, if you try to count the number of lines which you have between 35 degree and 36 degree, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct? So basically you have 10 lines between 1 degree, in 1 degree. So 10 lines correspond to 1 degree, correct? So how much will one short line correspond to? So one short line will actually correspond to 1 by 10 degree, which is equal to 0.1 degree. So in this particular thermometer, one line, that means from here to here, is going to be 0.1 degree. Here to here is again 0.1 degree. Here to here again 0.1 degree. So the one distance between two short lines is going to be 0.1 degree in this particular thermometer. Now it is not necessary that all the clinical thermometers look exactly like this. Now in some clinical thermometers it also might happen that between 35 degree and 36 degree there are only 5 lines. So in that case what will happen? Your calculation will change. So in that case the distance between two short lines will become lesser, correct? So it depends on thermometer to thermometer, but basically what you have to decide is how much does two short lines indicate. So basically if distance between two short lines would measure 0.1 degree in this case. Correct? So now let us see how do we measure the temperature. So here if you look at this thermometer, the mercury line has actually gone up to this point. So in this case it is pretty simple because this point is directly 39 degrees. So it is quite easy to read it. But many a times the line might go up to this point. Had it gone up to this point, then what would the temperature have been? So till here is 39, then 1, 2, 3. And each of these is 0.1. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So in that case, it would have been 39.3 degree Celsius. So that would have been the temperature if it had gone up to this point. So this is how we read a thermometer. So now let's take another example where let us suppose you have a thermometer. So this is a thermometer and let us say in the thermometer the measurement is given like this. This is 36 degree and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then you have 37 degree. Then again you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and again 38 degree and so on. So if you have it like this. So in that case, what is happening in between 36 degree to 37 degree? That means 1 degree is represented by how many lines? It is represented by 5 lines. So in that case, one short line will represent how many degree? 1 by 5 degree, which will be 0.2 degrees. So in this case, if your mercury level goes up to this point, so let us suppose the mercury level went up to this point. So what would be the temperature? The temperature would be 36.0.2 0.4. So that will be 36.4 degree Celsius. So whenever you want to read a clinical thermometer, first of all you have to determine how much does one short line represent. So if one short line is 0.1 degree, then you can read the thermometer accordingly. If one short line is 0.2 degree, then again you can read it accordingly. Now mostly the clinical thermometers are on Celsius scale, but a lot of clinical thermometers are also on Fahrenheit scale. And they have long lines to either to indicate 1 degree or to indicate 0.5 degree. Now in this case, you see the long lines are present to indicate not 1 degree. So on 1 degree it is written, but if you have long lines at an interval of 0.5 degree, correct? So this is 37, again you have a long line at 37.5, again a long line at 38, again a long line at 38.5. So you have long lines at interval of 0.5 degrees. So this is how we read a thermometer. So based on the process of reading thermometer, let us try reading some different temperatures. So here you see the purple colored line represent the mercury line or the mercury level. So here you see the mercury level reaches up to this point. So how much is this? This is 39. What is this? This is 39.5, and it is just one more short line. And here one short line in this case is 0.1 degree. So this will be 39.5 plus 0.1, that is 39.6 degree Celsius. Let's look at another example. So here you see this is up to where the thermometer went. So this is 37. So this is 37.5, because after 37 you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct? So till here it is 37.5, and after that again it is just one more. So that is 0.1 more. So this will be 37.6 degree Celsius. So this is how we measure temperatures using a thermometer. Now there are certain precautions which need to be taken care while we are handling a clinical thermometer. Now first of all, whenever you have to measure temperature, you have to place the thermometer on a person's body, preferably under the tongue or under the arms. And then you have to keep the thermometer there for approximately a minute. Now as soon as you keep it there, what happens? The bulb of the thermometer gets heated up because the body is already hot. Now when the bulb gets heated up, the mercury expands and the mercury level rises in the thermometer. Then we take it out from the tongue or from the underarms, and then we read the thermometer as I explained in the previous slide. So that is the process of measuring temperature using a thermometer. But some basic precautions are handled with care to prevent breaking. That is because this thermometer contains mercury, and mercury is a very harmful substance. So it is very poisonous. So if we break the thermometer, what happens? The mercury comes out, and then we have to dispose that mercury. So mercury is one of the important pollutants. It can cause pollution, it can cause damage to living organisms. So that means disposing mercury becomes a challenging task. So it is always important that thermometers are always handled with care. That is why you would have seen that thermometers are always kept. They always come inside a box with a lid so that they remain well protected inside. Wash before and after use. Now it is necessary to wash because first of all the thermometer goes inside a person's mouth. So there might be a lot of germs or dirt or impurities inside the mouth. So it is important to clean the thermometer before it is being used by some other person later. So that is one thing. Secondly, when you wash the thermometer, now since the thermometer was heated up, correct, so it is important to wash it so that it comes back to its normal temperature, and moreover to maintain hygiene also it is important to wash it. Jerk the thermometer to ensure mercury falls below 35 degrees Celsius before using it. Now as I said, in these type of thermometers, we have a kink. Now due to the presence of kink, the mercury level doesn't come back or doesn't fall back on its own. So let's suppose today you have measured temperature of a person and it came out to be say 39 degrees Celsius. Now tomorrow when you want to measure temperature of the same person using the same thermometer, you never know whether the mercury level has actually fallen back below 35 degrees Celsius or not. So that is why it is important that you jerk the thermometer physically so the mercury level falls back below 35 degrees Celsius. Before using it, make sure that you read the thermometer and ensure that it is below 35 degrees Celsius. Hold the thermometer at eye level while reading, because if you hold the thermometer below or above eye level, then you might not be able to read the right temperature. So that's why it should always be held parallel to the level of your eye. Do not hold the bulb while reading. This is very important. Why is it so? Because the bulb actually contains the mercury. So if you hold the bulb while reading, so what happens is the bulb comes in contact with your hand. Therefore, the temperature of the bulb gets altered, and therefore there are chances that the mercury level might also fall back because your hand might be colder when compared to the body of that person. So there are chances that the mercury level might get altered. So your reading will get altered. So it is always advised not to hold the bulb while reading. So we learned about clinical thermometer, which is used only to measure the temperature of human body. But do you think that we only need to measure the temperature of human body? That is the only place where we need a device to measure temperature? Not really. There are a lot of other things where we also want to know the temperature. For example, we want to know the temperature of the environment during daytime, during night. We want to know the temperature of boiling water. We want to know the temperature of a cup of coffee, which is quite hot. The temperature of ice cream. So how do we measure the temperature of all these other objects? Now, in clinical thermometer, we saw that the clinical thermometer only has a specific range of measurement. It can only measure temperature which falls below 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. So now if I try to use the same clinical thermometer to measure the boiling point of water, the thermometer would break because boiling point of water is far more when compared to the scale which is available on with this clinical thermometer. So that is why came up the laboratory thermometer, which has a more broader scale. So here the temperature ranges from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. So you see a huge range of temperatures can be measured using this thermometer. So it is used to measure temperatures of a variety of objects. So now you might say that okay, then this can also measure the temperature of human body because the human body's temperature range also falls within this range. So we will see that limitations a little later, that how laboratory thermometer is different from clinical thermometer and why it cannot be used to measure human body temperature. So this thermometer can be used to measure temperature of other objects like maybe temperature of water, temperature of any other liquid, temperature of anything actually. You can measure using this laboratory thermometer. Now, how do we read a laboratory thermometer? Now, the basic concept of reading any thermometer remains the same. You just need to find out how much does one small line represent in terms of degrees, and that's how you can just read the thermometer. But the way temperature is measured using a laboratory thermometer is little different from that we do with clinical thermometer. So let's see how laboratory thermometer is different. So here the reading needs to be noted while the thermometer bulb is in contact with the object. So one important difference between laboratory and clinical thermometer in terms of construction is that the laboratory thermometer does not have a kink. So in this case, you do not have a kink. Therefore, the mercury level falls back immediately as soon as you take the thermometer out of that object. So object here refers to the object whose temperature we want to measure. So let us look at this picture which is given on the screen. Let's say this vessel contains water. And let's say this is, and we want to measure the temperature of this water. So what do? We have put the thermometer here, or let's say here you have ice, and we have put the thermometer here. So this is the thermometer. Now, as long as the thermometer remains inside the ice, in that case what happens? The bulb of the thermometer remains in contact with the ice. Or here in this case, the ice is being melted to form water here. So the bulb of the thermometer, if it is in contact with water, it will be able to measure the temperature of the water. Because if the bulb is in contact with water, the water will heat up the bulb, so the mercury will expand, the mercury level will rise, and then we will read the level till which the mercury level has gone, and that is the reading of the thermometer. But in this case, if you take, like how in case of human body, we place the thermometer under our tongue, then we take it out and then we read it. Why is that possible? Because the mercury level doesn't fall back. But in this case, if you try to do the same thing, like first you insert the thermometer inside water and then you take it out. As soon as you take it out, the mercury level will fall back. So you will not be able to read the temperature. So that is one very important thing which you should remember when you are using laboratory thermometer. So whenever you use laboratory thermometer, you have to insert the thermometer and then immediately you have to read the thermometer to get the accurate temperature. So this temperature must be read while the thermometer is inside the water or ice or whichever object's temperature you want to measure. So that is first thing that has to be remembered. Secondly, the thermometer has to be held upright. This is also different from that of clinical thermometer. In clinical thermometer, you just put it, whether it is little slant or it is a little sideways, doesn't matter. Just that the bulb should be under your tongue and the bulb should be in contact with the surface of your mouth. So that's the only criteria. But in this case, you should not tilt the thermometer, because when you tilt the thermometer again, as you change the position of the thermometer, the kind of heat that is being available to the bulb also changes, and therefore the measurement of the thermometer also changes. So it is very important that in case of laboratory thermometer, it is held exactly upright. So, and that's why you will see that in most of the laboratories, the thermometer is also provided with a clamp stand. As you can see here, you have a stand here. So nobody is going to disturb the orientation of the thermometer. Just fix the thermometer, put it inside the solution or the object whose temperature you want to see, and then immediately you note the temperature. So that's the best way to use laboratory thermometer. Now, these two things are important in laboratory thermometer. They are also how laboratory thermometer is different from clinical thermometer. And this also tells you why it cannot be used to measure human body temperature. Because in human beings, is it possible that you place the thermometer under your tongue and simultaneously you read the temperature? That is not possible, right? You have to take the thermometer out and then read the temperature. Now, as soon as you do that with the laboratory thermometer, your mercury level is going to fall back. So, you are not going to get any temperature. So, laboratory thermometer is not going to work as a clinical thermometer, even though it has the temperature range of human beings, but it cannot measure the temperature of human body. Another important thing to be noted is that the bulb should never touch the surface of the container. For example, this is the container here, because if the bulb touches the surface of the container, again the proper heating of the bulb gets disturbed. So we want the bulb to be surrounded from all sides with the substance whose temperature needs to be measured. For example, here if we are measuring temperature of water, we want this bulb to be surrounded with water from all sides. So the bulb should never touch the surface of the container which is containing the liquid whose temperature needs to be measured. So now let us look at some of the precautions which have to be taken while we are dealing with a laboratory thermometer. So first thing is again the same, we have to handle it with care to prevent breaking, because even inside the laboratory thermometer there is mercury, because construction wise it is almost the same as the clinical thermometer. So it is made up of glass, and inside the glass tube you have mercury. So if it breaks, then disposing the mercury will become a tedious job. Wash before and after use, again it is also a similar precaution which has to be followed for all thermometers. Hold thermometer such that the bulb is surrounded by the object on all sides, and this object refers to the object whose temperature needs to be measured. So that is why if you want to measure temperature of a cup of coffee, so insert the thermometer such that the bulb is completely dipped inside the coffee, but at the same time the bulb should not touch the surface of the cup which contains the coffee. Do not tilt the thermometer while measurement, because when you tilt the thermometer the reading also changes, because as you saw that here the mercury level falls back very easily. Now the same question, why can't we use laboratory thermometer to measure body temperature? Now as I mentioned, if you just look at the scale of measurement which is provided in both clinical and laboratory thermometer, so what do you see? In clinical thermometer we can measure temperature, any temperature falling between 35 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Now, if you look at a laboratory thermometer, you can measure any temperature between minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. So, basically, this temperature range also falls within the laboratory thermometer's temperature range. But the problem is that with laboratory thermometer, as soon as you take it out from the substance, the mercury level immediately falls down. So when you put the thermometer inside the mouth of a patient, and as soon as you will take it out of the mouth, so the mercury level is going to fall back. So you will not be able to read the temperature. So this is the reason why laboratory thermometer cannot be used to measure body temperature. Now, we looked at both clinical as well as laboratory thermometers. So, everywhere we see that it is always chosen mercury, which is used as the liquid inside the thermometer. Now, what is so special in mercury that it is in demand for making thermometers? Firstly, it is liquid at room temperature, and we want a liquid so that the liquid can actually move through the tube. So you see, this is the thermometer. Now along the length of the thermometer, had it been a solid, it would have not have that much of motion, that mobility would have not been there. But since it is a fluid, so it can like flow from one place to another. So since it is a liquid, so that is a good thing. Secondly, it has high coefficient of expansion. Now, what do we mean by high coefficient of thermal expansion? Expansion means anything which is expanding, anything which is increasing in its volume. Thermal expansion means anything which is expanding due to heat. So, mercury has high coefficient of expansion means that even if it is heated very slightly, mercury expands noticeably. So, even if you apply little bit of heat, so it will start expanding. So, and that expansion will be noticeable. So now if you start using a liquid which has low coefficient of expansion, in that case what will happen, that liquid will not be able to give you very small temperatures. So because when you apply small temperatures, that liquid will not expand. So when the liquid doesn't expand, you really don't see anything, or you really do not, your thermometer doesn't read anything. So this is one of the most important reasons why mercury is used in thermometers. Besides this, it has a property that it does not stick to the walls of the thermometer. Now, if it starts sticking to the walls of the thermometer, in that case, again, it will not be able to flow along the length of the tube. So, that is also another important thing. It has a shiny appearance which makes it easier to read the thermometer, because that shiny line can be seen distinctly. It has a low melting point somewhere around minus 38 degrees Celsius and a very high boiling point. So therefore the chances of this mercury being melted or getting boiled is very less, because normally, now if an object has very high melting point or very low boiling point, then what happens is maybe even at room temperature it might start boiling. Or as soon as you expose it to some hot substances, it might start boiling. So all those risks are not there, because it has a low melting point, so it will start melting only at a very, very low temperature. Similarly, it will start boiling only at a very high temperature. So that is also advantageous for mercury to be used in thermometers. However, in spite of so many advantages of mercury, there is one disadvantage which is being faced these days, that mercury being very poisonous, it is very difficult to get disposed if by chance the thermometer breaks. Therefore, these days a substitute of mercury has been found, and that is alcohol. So a lot of digital thermometers have come up, And in a lot of thermometers these days, instead of mercury, alcohol is being used, because alcohol also has a very high coefficient of expansion, and at the same time it is not that poisonous as mercury.
So Bacha Party, what do you have to say about this video? Did you like the video? If you have a feedback for us, do let us know in the comment section of the video. And if you really liked the video, do not forget to share it with your friends so that they can enjoy learning too. So keep learning, keep enjoying, and I will meet you all very soon with a new video with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.